Well, this year's been a pretty big year. 2009, we have 5 what I call regular season grand championships at local contests. One of those was my hometown where I live, Blue Springs, an 80-team contest. We've been cooking it almost every year that we've been cooking. We missed it like the first couple of years. And so on your hit list, your hometown contest is always there. And to win that, and that was the first grand champion that Randy and I had won together. So I cook about half of the contest by myself and about a third of the contest with Randy. So a lot of the wins have not been with Randy, and so that was really special to have that one. The other significant thing that happened this year was Plowboys was invited to the Chest to Chest Brisket Invitational in Great Bend, Kansas. We were also invited to the Butt to Butt Pork Invitational in Shannon, Illinois, and they're the same weekend. So knowing that I couldn't go cook both, another part-time member of the team is Andy Groneman, and so Andy was able to go and cook his pork pulling Plowboys at Great Bend, and I went to Shannon. And as it turns out, we both won both contests in the same day within about an hour and a half of each other. And the significant thing about that is no other teams ever won both contests, and certainly not even in the same day. You know, even over multiple years, no teams ever won that contest. So that was very significant. Then comes the American Royal Invitational, and even without the American Royal Invitational, this was, if we could ever beat this year, I don't know how it could happen, you know. And then comes the American Royal, and you walk into the American Royal Invitational, and you don't expect anything because this year was 124 grand champions from all across the country, and of the top 25 teams in the country, 20 of them were there this year. And I don't know how many of the top 50, but it was a large concentration of some of the high caliber teams in the country. And so you walk into that, and at the time we were ranked 12th, I believe. And so you walk into that, what I want out of that experience is to hear my name called so someone knows we were there. And so they call the top 15 teams in each category. So I'm hoping for 15th in something so that at least people know Pork Pulling Plowboys were there. And as it went down, my worst category in cooking the Invitational was Randy and myself. And so my worst category is chicken. And so we go into chicken, and they're calling chicken, and the last thing I'm expecting is a chicken call. I'm kind of reserving myself for the next categories. And here comes 5th place in chicken, and they call our name. And I would have been happy with 15th. 5th place in chicken, that would have made the entire weekend right there. And nothing else could have happened. And I would have been wearing that ribbon all weekend. And that was just a very, very proud accomplishment to be able to do that in that concentration of teams. And then ribs go by, and I'm still thinking about the 5th place ribbon, and then ribs go by. We find out later we got 90th in ribs out of 124, so that didn't go as we had planned. And then pork comes along, and pork has been kind of our bread and butter category over the last 3 years. So pork comes by, and they call us for 8th place. Now I'm thinking, wow, we have 2 top 10 places at the American Royal Invitational. I was hoping for just to hear my name called, and it got called twice, and that was fantastic. Then comes brisket, and I actually knew our brisket had done. I actually knew we had a good brisket product. Doesn't mean it's going to do well in the judging, but I knew we had a good brisket product. I knew it was probably our best product of the day, but again, you never know how it's going to turn out when it comes to barbecue judging. And so they're calling names, and they get to 3rd place, and they call Cool Smoke, and Tuffy was the KCBS Team of the Year 2 years ago and is a very good, accomplished cook. And then comes 2nd place, and it's Butcher Barbecue, and David and I are friends, and we use each other's products. And the interesting thing about this is that Well, let me jump to first place. So they call first place and they call us for first place in brisket. And we had won first place pork the year before. And the awards that they present for first place are pretty impressive. It's the American Royal Crown, and they're really something special. And when they called us for first place, the first thing that went through my mind was not, we just got 3 calls and we could win this thing. It was, I just got another one of these crowns. And as a competitive barbecue cook, one of those is a significant thing for you personally. It's an accomplishment for you personally. To have 2 of them is mind-blowing. And here now, I was going to walk home with another one. And when it comes to barbecue, I think most cooks will look to the big meats, the pork shoulders, pork butts, and the briskets, as that's really barbecue. And ribs are barbecue too, and chicken may be questionable sometimes, but the big meats really are the heart to me of barbecue. And here I'm going to walk home and have on my mantle an American Royal first place from both. And as a career statement for myself, that was a significant thing. That was what was playing through my head at the time. And so I walk up and I'm standing next to David, who's second place. And the interesting thing about this is that the day before on Friday, as all the invitational cooks are prepping their meat, I've been using David's product since he began producing it 3 years ago, and we've talked a lot about briskets and we've talked a lot about how to use the product, but we've never sat down and actually taken a brisket and worked it together. And I asked him if he would come over and just kind of watch what I'm doing and talk about, as I'm prepping my brisket, his thoughts on that. And the American Royal being what it is, it was a very busy day, and we never got connected either. Our timings never worked out. And so as it turned out, we never got that opportunity. So here I'm up there on stage holding my crown. David's standing beside me, and he leans over and says, "Guess you didn't need me to show you how to inject that brisket, did you?" And so, that was a very ironic moment. But so then we move off the stage, and my family was sitting up in the top of the stands, and I had seen some friends who were coming to visit us for the evening over off to the side. And I decided, at that point, I was through the roof already and my heart's going, and I decided to go stand over by them, and they're waving and yelling at me. So I go over to stand by them, and I'm just now waiting to hear how we placed overall. And it had not registered that we most likely did win this. I was thinking top 5, and I was hoping for top 3. And as I stood there, I was thinking, no, we have to be top 3. There's no other team that got 3 calls. And so the thing that was going through my mind was that Caveman Cuisine had won the pork category with the perfect score. And I've been doing this long enough, and I've had enough bittersweet moments where it's not about placements, it's about points. And I had a contest earlier this year that I was the only team with 4 out of 4 calls. I had top 10 in everything, and I ended up 3rd. And the teams that were 1st and 2nd had 2 top 10 calls. So you can't go by placements, you have to go by points, and you don't know what they are. And that's one of the fun things about barbecue competition is the drama that plays out at awards. And competition barbecue is such a great thing that there's so much camaraderie, and there's so many friendships, and so many of my lifelong friends are coming out of barbecue, it seems. And yet between 11:55 and 1:35, we're all trying to cut each other's throats. And then comes awards, and there's the drama of the awards, and everyone's cheering for each other, and so forth. So I'm off standing to the side, knowing that